Good morning, badasses. Welcome to March 9th. I'm Dr. Walker, and I'm going to take you through tax prep for badasses. And it's funny because when I say prep, I'm like, I don't know. I guess it's because I'm in my 50s. Prep just reminds me of something else. I don't know. Anyway, getting ready for tax season. So I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to come in. And remember, if you're joining me on Zoom, you don't have to turn your camera on or anything, and I can answer your questions at the end. And or you can just pepper me with questions throughout. Hey, Brenda, good to see you. And I'm watching over here. I'm going to try to keep track if anybody has any questions for me in the Step It Up Facebook group, because you guys get the screen shares. You guys get the opportunity to hop on Zoom and ask me questions in real time. I really take this opportunity every Thursday in the Step It Up membership to make sure that you get whatever it is that I'm presenting this month. And this month, it's all about getting ready for taxes, that you get it in a way where I can slow it down if I need to, or speed it up if I need to, or expand on stuff. So it's not so static. You know, when you're in Texas Counselors Creating Badass Businesses, you know, a lot of times it's like, I'm just here's your stuff now, bye, see ya. I mean, I'm nice. I hope I'm not just shoving it down people's throats. But in this group, when you have the Step It Up membership, I really want it to be a teaching opportunity. That's what I am. I'm trained as a teacher. I was a music teacher, orchestra teacher. And so I just feel I've been teaching piano lessons since I was 13 years old. I feel like, anyway, I don't know what I feel like, but I know I love to teach. I feel like I probably need more caffeine. So let's give everybody a few more minutes to hop on. Looks like I've got somebody watching. And then, so that means I'm going to have a lot of people joining on the replay, and that is totally okay. In fact, I commend you. I mean, it's not often that people take the time to watch a replay, and the fact that you're doing it means that you're not going to settle. You know, you're too important to lose to, you know, not knowing how to do your taxes. So this is only the beginning. Don't forget, we have a free webinar coming up on March 29th. Dr. Olivia Weedell will be coming. Now, she's not coming anywhere. She's virtually going to talk to us about how to prep for tax season. And Dr. Weedell is a bookkeeping expert, and she's a practice owner. She's also the president of the Texas Mental Health Counseling Association, TMCA, which is a division of TCA. So she knows her stuff, and she's agreed to talk to us for 1 hour, and hopefully maybe a little bit longer if we can talk her into it. And so I know most of the speakers that I get, they love to answer your questions. They appreciate the fact that you're there, and they want to see you succeed. And they're coming out of the goodness of their heart. I mean, they're literally just appearing in these webinars because they want to see you do better. And so I really encourage you to come. The second one, we've got back to back. So Tara Fox, Dr. Fox will be joining us April 5th. At 5, and she's going to be doing a bridging from grad school to associate. I'm just going to say associate because LPC and LMFT, they're both called associate. And so we'll talk about that more next week. But those are the two things. Even Step It Up members, you guys got to register for these things because they're in the evening. And then you get 1 CE if you join live. If you miss the live, that's okay because you're a Step It Up member, and you get to watch it on the replay later and get the CE asynchronously. You get it as an asynchronous CE. All right. So tax season, prepping for tax season. I missed last week because of my spotty Wi-Fi, so I'm going to try to cover last week and today. I think I can do it because they're pretty similar. But what I want you to get out of today are 5 things, right? And if you've already listened to the podcast, you know what I'm talking about, but I'm going to show you with screen shares today the 5 things you should be thinking about, right? We've got tax day, April 15th. And so those 5 things. And then I'm going to talk a little bit deeper, dive in a little deeper about if you're just not feeling like a numbers person, like if you've always told yourself, but I'm just not a numbers person, this is for you as well. All right. And I talk about my story a lot. how 20 years ago, Kate walked into her accountant's office, so proud. I had this big stack of information, and he looks at me and he's like, get out, go get QuickBook lessons. And I remember feeling like, here I was, I had started this business. I had made some money. I was feeling really good about myself. And the money thing, I was working out. Yes, I had some shame issues from my family of origin. And, just this idea that money's scarce, money's hard to come by. You got to work really, really hard, which, that was wonderful. My family, they gave me a lot of great information, a lot of great values, tremendous work ethic. But when I left that tax office, I was like, I've screwed everything up. It's over. All is for nothing. It's all is lost because I can't do my taxes. I shouldn't be in business. Who am I to think that I should be doing this on my own? What was I thinking? All of those shame messages. And so that's what I'm going to also address here. If that's you and you're thinking, well, if I can't do this, then I have no business being in private practice. Wrong. Remember, your community needs you. You're too important to lose to just, not knowing how to do your taxes. Yes, there are consequences, but the consequences are even live throughable, right? And so anyway, I'm not going to get to that. Let's start at the beginning. So the 5 things you should be tracking if you are in private practice: profit and loss, tracking expenses, itemizing expenses, determining your tax brackets, and making sure you have a professional on speed dial or speed email. Now, I know for a lot of us, we're not all in one place. We're not just private practice. We have this hybrid thing, right? I work at the hospital where I'm a W-2 employer, and then I work for so-and-so's private practice, and she gives me a 1099 at the end of the year. And then I just see a few clients on the side in my own private practice. So with that's 3 different ways to do your taxes, to think of your taxes, to organize your money. Now, like me, I was a school teacher for 14 years, and I just thought the IRS fairy went around and tapped each one of my paychecks and taxes were magically paid. And when I started my business, they would just keep doing that. No. So with the W-2, your taxes are taken out for you. And that's when you have those wonderful things called refunds. You remember those back in the day? My kids are like, why didn't I get a refund? I'm like, because you did it right? You don't want the government to be your bank account. You don't want a refund. You want it to be zero. I paid you the right amount. You paid me the right. We're good, right? We're good. Okay, Uncle Sam, see ya. So the W-2 is generally the easiest one. The 1099, that's where you have to take out your own taxes. You have to make sure you set money aside. So that's 20%, 30%, however you want to do that. Never look at a check that you get from a 1099 employer and think, it's all mine. Nope, it's not all yours. So and I'm going to get to, if you haven't done any of this, don't worry. So with the 1099, you will owe taxes. That's how that works. That's the benefit of being a 1099 contractor, right? Your employer doesn't take out anything for you. With private practice, you must have a profit and loss statement. That is what you will give to your tax professional person. That tracks your income, all of the money you got from your clients, and everything you paid to keep the lights on, to keep your electronic health records going, all of that. You compare the two, you subtract one from the other, and that gives you your income for the year. So you have your W-2, your 1099 income, and now you have your practice income. Now, if you have accounting software, it will do that for you. And so I'm going to give you an example of a profit and loss statement for Kate Walker Training. So no PHI is going to be shared. So you can see what it looks like in QuickBooks. And QuickBooks is not sponsoring this in any way, shape, or form. It's something I've always used. So when you get into QuickBooks, what you'll see is kind of a generic screen like this. Over here, you have a bunch of tabs. And when you click bookkeeping, it takes you to a profit and loss report. Actually, what it'll do, and let me see if there we go. That's all right. I can do it again. It'll give you a screen like this where it says reports. You see you have some choices. You have a choice of lots of different reports. Let me get rid of this. So the one we want is the profit and loss. Now, when I go into profit and loss, you'll see it automatically wants to give me this year, but I'm not going to do that because I want you to see an entire year. So let's go back to 2021. So run report. And I always do, you have choice here of cash and accrual. I always do cash because I don't bill anybody. I'm not expecting any invoices. I'm not waiting on money. So back in 2021, this was in the thick of COVID, we did awesome, right? You would think, oh my gosh, Kate, look at that, $120,888.36. How cool is that? And these are just different ways of categorizing income. I'm not going to go into that, but that's also a lot of taxes. And none of that, hardly any of that went into my pocket. So if you look at now all of the expenses that I had, I paid contractors probably too much, but I paid out a lot. Plus I had a very high credit card bill. So I was paying a ton of interest. So when you get down after all of these expenses, I put $41,902.15 into my pocket. So you can see my expenses almost, I think a lot of it was probably, well, I have no idea. I could go through all that and look, but when you compare, and this is what you would do for your business, you would go and you'd have your client income, no PHI, just your client income, compare it to your expenses, and boom, there at the end, that is your net. This is what you will calculate your taxes on, not this big, beautiful number right here. All right, so that is your profit and loss statement. So let me stop the share. Actually, let me go back because it really, it talks about the next two things, which are itemizing and categorizing, which are kind of the same thing. But when you have a private practice, and you have heard me say this 100 times, you have to have a separate bank account. And I want you to see why. I mean, let's look at meals and entertainment. I go to conferences, and, one of the things that this particular program does, like if I'm spending the same thing all the time, like Zoom, right? Zoom every single month, it's $15, $15, $15. Well, it comes out of one account, my business account. This program recognizes that every month, and I don't even see it go in because the bank account's connected to this. So that is one less thing I have to do. And when you look at, like, I've got 25 transactions that go through every month that this program knows and will say, oh yeah, we know what that is. Click, 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 itemizes it for me because I've already tracked expenses through a separate bank account. Now, if I go to a conference and I'm in Georgetown, Texas at TASES, and I'm eating out with some friends, it's going to have something that's going to say, please review this. And I look at it and I go, oh yeah, that's when I went to Scratch Kitchen with some friends, and it was part of traveling because you got to eat when you travel to a conference. So it's a business write-off. Click, categorize, itemize, and away it goes to my profit and loss statement. So understanding that is really important. If you're doing it with an Excel spreadsheet and a shoebox full of receipts, yes, you're going to have a long day ahead of you, long weekend ahead of you, but you get the idea. Now, I'm going to talk about write-offs in just a second, but I want to make sure you understand. So the first is understanding how to create a profit and loss statement, what that looks like, what it is, and then how to make sure, I guess I kind of went backwards. It is, you have to be able to understand which expenses are business expenses, and then drill down even deeper to understand and categorize those expenses so that they are all in the right place. Now, last but not least is understanding your tax bracket. So I'm literally just going to Google that for you. Tax, and you've probably seen me do this before. Tax bracket 2022, because we're doing last year. So there are a million. There are a million websites to go to, and they're all going to be basically the same. Let me just click on, I'll do this one. Bum, bum, bum. And there they are. So you can understand, and this is important if you share income with your supportive partner, you guys need to make a decision about how you want to file taxes, because you did great and you made money and you earned a profit and you've got your profit and loss in your hand. You're putting it with your W-2 from the hospital and your 1099 from, Joe's Counseling Shack. You've got it all together. And your supportive partner comes to you and says, honey, yeah, good job, yay, but you just kicked us into a higher tax bracket. Crap. No, not crap. Yay, you. It's okay. It is all right. It's just important that you're able to plan for that for next year. Now, I talk about how to read a tax bracket more in the podcast, so I'm not going to go over it here. You can go to any of your RSS feeds, Apple Podcasts, go in and you can listen to how to read the U.S. tax brackets and find your tax bracket and see how much of your money is taxed at 10% and how much of your money is taxed at 22%. But the takeaway, the long and short is you've got to know where to find it and then what to do when you find it. And then if you are filing taxes with another grown-up, have that conversation, especially if you have done so awesomely that you've kicked the family household income into another tax bracket. Never be ashamed of that. That is okay. So I'm not screen sharing, am I? Y'all got to tell me this. You got to give me a thumbs up or something. All right, here I go. Thumbs down, frowny face. I don't know. Tell it, Kate, you're not screen sharing. All right. So what I did was I literally just Googled income tax brackets. There's a billion of them. I clicked on this one and the rates look like this. I like these, the ones that are not the IRS, because it explains, sometimes it's embedded in a blog post. If you go to the IRS one, let's see, look, IRS doesn't even come up first, does it? They need to do some SEO optimization. IRS one is just pretty, like, here's the chart, figure it out. So I encourage you to find one that is actually a blog post. All right, now I'm going to stop the share. All right, now I want to talk to you if anybody have any questions from there. And again, you don't have to put your camera on if you don't want to. Does anybody have anything they want me to answer up to this point? All right, and while y'all are thinking, I just want to remind you, if you're still a little confused about if you're a Step It Up member and you're still confused a little bit about how to find the Zoom links, it's okay. I get you. It's not intuitive, right? We don't hide it from you on purpose, but do you see what I did there? I put but. So when you go to the Kate Walker Training website, you click log in. And once you log in, you're going to be taken to your products page where it's got everything in it. Well, this one start here, this is the magical module. And you'll see that underneath here, that's where we've hidden all of these Zoom links. So you can see your 2023 course catalog, all of the resources. You can join the Facebook group if you're a Facebooker. And here's the link to join the Thursday 10 a.m. group coaching when I'm here and when it's live, it stays the same. It's just going to be the same link until I guess I get tired of it. So I hope that helps those of you who wanted to join today and you couldn't find the link. And also, if you are a Facebooker, the link is on the page. It's a featured post, but remember, if you're a Step It Up member, you don't have to be a Facebooker. It's okay. You can get as much out of this as everybody else if you are just simply joining me through Zoom. All right. So let's talk about what to do if you're not a numbers person. All right. I'm going to get into the nitty gritty here because I know, as a kid, I was in elementary school in the 70s, junior high and high school in the 80s. And I thought I was good at math until I wasn't. And so there were a lot of things I think going on with me, but the issues around getting it wrong. Okay, here's my homework. Oh, I got it wrong. And so as I progressed through school and master's degree and PhD, I had to really fight through those shame issues. And then, as I told earlier, my tax story, I had to kind of fight through them, and I still fight through them. I always laugh because I was a music major at the University of Texas at Austin. And basically, that was probably the only major where you only needed like 3 hours of math. So I was like, aha, I did it. So for better or for worse, the issues surrounding money can go deep. But there's more than that, right? And one of the things you have to understand is you don't have to be great at everything, right? I know some of us are better singers than others. Others of us are carpenters and great with our hands. Some of us are do things with hand-eye coordination, like drive, right? Some of us are better at things than others, and that's okay. You don't have to be great at doing your taxes. Give yourself permission to let it be something you're just good at. It's okay to just be good at taxes. And good means doing the things that I've told you, the things that Dr. Weedell is going to talk to you about at her webinar. Have a system, do the things on a regular basis, and then have someone you can consult with who is great at taxes, right? Let the people who are great be great at that. The other piece is this 80-20 rule. And, I don't know where the research is, what the research is, but there's research out there that really helps us understand, like the example I gave in the podcast was something like, you buy this office and it's a beautiful office and you say to yourself, you know what, this place needs new doors. So I'm going to learn how to be a carpenter and I'm going to build some new doors. So you do, and the doors are amazing, but those doors didn't bring in 1 cent of client income, right? Basically what you did is you postponed doing what you needed to do to earn the income. Now, being great at taxes is definitely not going to give you a return on that investment. It's not going to create revenue for you. So if you can imagine being good at taxes, just let yourself sit in that for a minute and understand, if I'm just good and after 2 hours, if I don't have it done, I send it off to somebody else or I ask for help. And then let 80% of your time be devoted at what you're great at. That's when you're going to see the return, right? If you just take away family time, take away you time, lose sleep, lose hair over this idea that your taxes aren't perfect, 80%, if you spend 80% of your time and allow yourself to become unbalanced by that thought, that's not going to help you. It's not going to help your practice, and it probably won't make your taxes any better either. Understanding your money mindset. There are great books out there, and I'm going to list them in the podcast. I list them in the blog that's coming out on Friday at katewalkertraining.com. Dave Ramsey, Ramit Sethi, Jen Sincero, Tim Ferriss. All of these are wonderful books you can read to help you fix your money mindset, right? This idea of I've got to work 80 hours a week or else I'm not doing enough. And, if I'm not making it, we have been told a lot of stuff by Instagram and TikTok. So it's important to have your dream, understand what success means to you, right? I love the life that I have. I really enjoy it. I really love being able to do what I do when I do it. And it's something that's what success means to me. You've got to figure out what it means to you and allow that money mindset to shift to match your dream. Finally, one of the things my kids told me over and over and over again is, Mom, you're ADD. I'm like, what? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Well, yeah, I am. And so anxiety, ADD, what those issues result in is procrastination or obsession, right? And both are a weird form of self-care for the suffering brain. You've got procrastination because you just don't want to think about it, and you just want to, spend one more minute in your book or TikTok or, playing baseball with your kiddos. Or you're obsessing and you are spending way more than 80% of your time doing, thinking, imagining, panicking about this, right? Anxiety and ADD, they don't have like these middle speeds, right? It's all brake or all gas. So please, if you're suffering and it's something that it's gotten to the point where, okay, tax season is here, I kind of want to curl up into a fetal position with my favorite blanket on the floor, or I want to throw up. It's time. It's time to just, figure out how to help you, right? Because, what is the old metaphor with the airplane mask, right? You got to put it on you first. So that's really what I wanted to dive into today with money for the I'm not a money person, right? Because I'm looking in the mirror. I'm talking to me too. I had to grow. I had to change too. So I'm going to open it up for questions. This is Dr. Kate Walker. Thank you for watching. I'm going to pause the recording. Actually, I'm going to stop the recording. But remember, you are still live streaming in the Step It Up Facebook group. So here I go. Stop. Yes, I want to stop recording. All right. Does anybody have any questions for me? I'm looking online. Melissa Ortiz says, what are therapeutic specific write-offs? Okay. Oh, yes, Melissa, I forgot to get to that. I'm going to post a link, and I'm going to do that in a couple of hours. Okay, Melissa? And I'm going to give you some write-offs. Actually, what I'm going to do, Melissa, is I'm going to send you to a couple of web pages that have specific write-offs for therapists. And they're surprising things like your own therapy, how to write off a home office. And there are two ways to do that. One is the regular way, and there's one that's called it's a more intensive, more specific way. Can you write off mileage, or should you write off putting your car in the repair shop? Startup fees. Did you know you could write off startup fees when you first open your practice? So Melissa, I'm going to make a note to self, and I will post those links here. If you are watching me on YouTube, or you're somehow on Zoom, you're not a Facebooker, what I'll do is I will post it in the YouTube links as well. You are welcome. All right, guys, anything else? I know Nikki is like, that's why we came. We came here for the write-offs. But I promise I'll get, and I encourage you guys to do the same too. Google this. There's some obvious ones, like when you're traveling, you can write off meals. But if you are just like wanting to go out for lunch in the middle of the day at work, you can't. You can write off travel expenses. But you can't write off commuting expenses. So there are some things that I know Dr. Weedle's going to get into more as well. And so I want you to pay attention to that. And if you can't make it live, watch the replay. Oh, Lisa, you're going to love Dr. Weedle then, because not only is she wonderful, but you can also, it's in your Step It Up course stuff. It's David Frank And David Frank is a financial advisor for therapists. No lie, that is his niche. And so if you go to the podcast or you go to your Step It Up course catalog, you'll see his presentation. He's wonderful. All right, it's 10:30. I gotta go, y'all. Please put in more questions. I promise I'm going to pay attention and watch the thread today and give you guys more resources. Have a wonderful day. I'm Dr. Kate Walker. You're awesome. Keep it up.